12 learners, welcome to today's technical mathematics lesson. My name is Matsidiso Kongwane. This lesson is brought to you by Gauteng Department of Education in collaboration with Saibono Discovery Center. Today we'll be looking at polynomials. Remember, the polynomials is the topic that is taking us to differential calculus. And then objective of today's lesson: after the completion of the lesson, you will be able to, number one, apply the remainder and factor theorem to third-degree polynomials. Secondly, to factorize the third-degree polynomial. Lastly, to solve cubic equations. Those are the three objectives that you'll be looking into grade 12. And then what is a polynomial? A polynomial is an algebraic expression that consists of two or more terms. For an example, we are having a linear expression. And then why are we saying it's linear? Is because it is x to the power 1. X to the power 1 is linear. And in this case, is composed of two terms. A term is divided by either it is separated by a plus or a minus sign in between. And then now we are having again a quadratic expression. How do we know it's quadratic? Is because we are having an x to the power 2. And then the third degree expression, it is an x to the power 3. And then as you can see, this one is having 1, 2, 3 times because they are separated by a plus in between. And then this contains 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. It is also separated by plus in between. That is how you count your terms, grade 12. Now we are having a monomial, a binomial, and a trinomial polynomial. Okay, and then monomial, it means it is having only one term. As you can see, 10x squared, for an example, there is no separation of a plus or minus in between. We are only having one term, of which is 10x squared. And then now we have a binomial. With a binomial, bi means 2, like in your bicycle, okay? And then bi means 2, that means that is why you have two expressions there. As you can see, they are separated by a minus in between. That is your first and the second term. And then now a trinomial. Tri means 3, triangle, 3-sided figure. So tri means 3, therefore we mean 3-term expression. And then as you can see now, it is separated by plus in between. That is first, second, and the third term. Those are the examples of the polynomials, grade 12. And then now let's look at our first activity. We are given f at x is equal to x cubed minus 6x squared plus 11x minus 6. And then we have to determine the f at 0. And then we call this the functional notation. So you must know exactly what do they mean, grade 12, if they say f at 0. Now, if you look at this now, initially we are having f at x. That means the change is in here. They have substituted your x with the 0 there. That is exactly what this message is saying to you. It is saying take the f at x function and then substitute your x with the 0 there. And then now the easiest way of doing this, grade 12, ensure that your x is inside the bracket because you will be busy substituting something into that x. I hope we are still together. And then now let's take our f at 0. So in this expression that we have there, or the equation, we are going to substitute our x with 0. It will be 0 to the power 3 minus 6 into 0 to the power 2 plus 11 into 0 and then the minus 6. Then 0 cubed is 0 minus 6 times 0 squared is a 0 plus 11 times 0 is a 0. Therefore our answer here will just be a minus 6, grade 12. And then now we have f at minus 1 for 1.2. Now we are moving on to 1.2. We are looking at f at minus 1. It simply means again where we have x, we are now substituting what? a -1. Then it will be -1 cubed minus 6 into -1 squared plus 11 into -1 and then minus a 6 there. Into your calculator, grade 12, no need for partial simplification. And then we put everything into your calculator, you will end up with an answer minus 24. All right, continuing now with 1.3. We are now looking at f at half. Can you see now? We are now substituting our x with the half there. So that will be equals to the first x here, it's half to the power 3 minus 6 followed by half to the power 2 plus 11 half and then minus 6. And then into your calculator again, grade 12 to the answer, that is -15 over 8. All right, and then we move on to the last one, which is 1.4. In this case, now we are requested to substitute our x with b plus 1. We are still using the same equation, f at x, then our x will be b plus 1, and then equals to the x b plus 1 cubed minus 6x b plus 1 squared plus 11 into x b plus 1 minus 6. That means in this case now, our value of f at b plus 1 will be in terms of b now. The value, the answer that you are going to calculate here will be in terms of b. And then this first bracket here means you are calculating 3 brackets of b plus 1. So now we are basically having 3 brackets here. That is b plus 1, a b plus 1, and a b plus 1 because it is exponent 3. So now we're going to leave the first b plus 1 and multiply these two now, grade 12. So we leave b plus 1 and then we multiply these two. It will be b times b, which is b squared, b times 1, that is b, 1 plus b, that is b, and then 1 times 1, that is 1. And then we still have that b plus 1, and then these two brackets, they give us b squared plus 2b plus 1. Okay, that is the first multiplication here. We leave the first bracket, and then we have multiplied 2 brackets, of which is b squared plus 2b plus 1. And then minus a 6. We cannot multiply 6 in. Why? Because this is squared. We need to deal with that square first. We have already done that. Grade 12 is 2 bracket of b plus 1. The answer is this one on the trinomial bracket. So now we are bringing that b squared plus 2b plus 1. And then plus, we are now distributing 11 in because this is to the power 1. We can do that for this one. That is 11b plus 11 minus 6. Okay, continue in terms of b. We are now bringing in this bracket into that trinomial. We first multiply each term by b there. That means if we bring a b there, it will be b cubed, and then a b to the 1 plus 2b squared, a b times 1, that is b, correct? And then we now multiply with the 1 in each term. That means multiplication by 1 is the same thing. So b squared times 1, it will be b squared. 2b times 1, 2b. 1 times 1, 1. And then the next term is minus 6 into each term here. Distributing minus 6, that will be minus 6b squared. Minus 6 times 2, minus 12b. Minus 6 times 1, minus 6. And then we have what? Grade 12, 11b. And then 11 minus 6 will be 5. And then at this level, we are now looking for the like terms. And then if you look at b cubed, that is the only b cubed we have, then it will remain b cubed. And then we add 2b squared plus b squared, that is 3b squared. 3b squared minus 6b squared, that is minus 3b squared. Then we are done with the family of b squared. We now go to b, that will be b plus 2b, that is 3b. 3b minus 12b, that is minus 9b, minus 9b plus 11b, that is plus 2b grade 12. All right, I hope we are still together. And then now lastly, we are adding the constant numbers without a b. Therefore, it will be 1 minus 6, that is minus 5. Minus 5 plus 5, that is a 0. So now the answer for f at b plus 1 is the b squared minus 3b squared plus 2b. That is the expected solution for that grade 12. Okay, I hope we are still together. So this will assist us in terms of substituting the given values into our polynomials to find the other factors. So basically we are doing this to be able to factorize. And then now determine the remainder activity 2. If we are given f at x being x cubed minus 27, and then it is divided by x minus 4. Right, what will happen here, grade 12, is we are taking this divisor x minus 4 and you let it equal to 0. So now it will give you the value of x, of which is equals to 4. So this is the value that we will be substituting. That means we will be looking at f at 4 now in our f at x formula. So where we have x, let's put brackets. We are going to substitute that with a 4 from our divisor there in order to be able to check the remainder there. So we are looking at f at 4, and then the x is 4 to the power 3 minus 27. The minute you are looking at a function at a certain x value, that means this it will give us the remainder for that particular function. In this case, when it is divided by x minus 4. And then now we are having 4 cubed minus 27. No need for partial simplification, grade 12. You can put everything into your calculator straight to the answer, of which is equal to 37. That means that is the remainder you will get. Now, why are we getting a remainder? What does it mean? For an example, if I'm taking 5 and then I'm dividing by 2, this 5 will serve as my f at x, my function that I'm dividing into, or my dividend, and then the denominator is my divisor. So now if I divide 5 by 2, my answer will be 2, of which is the quotient answer. But still, there is something remaining there. So we'll say 2 with the remainder 1, of which is left there. That is exactly what is happening here. When you divide this f at x function by x minus 4, you get the remainder that is equal to 37. That means this x minus 4 is not totally divisible into this one. It's not a factor of this because it is leaving a remainder. Okay, and then determine the remainder. We are still on remainder theorem. Determine the remainder using the remainder theorem if this x cubed minus 2x squared plus x minus 7 is divided by x plus 2. Here we are trying to bring another different way of noting your question. Okay, so here you can see what is your divisor, x plus 2. Same method. We take x plus 2, we let it equal to 0. So we will be substituting x with a negative 2 to get a the remainder. Okay, now let's do it, grade 12. So we are going to substitute in x. I am already putting brackets there so that I cannot do any mistake when substituting a negative value there. So now this will give us a remainder when we are substituting our x with minus 2. X minus 2 squared plus x minus 2, and then a minus 7. And then now into our calculators, straight to the answer, grade 12. How much do you get for that? That is giving us a minus 25. So the remainder, when this expression here is divided by x plus 2, it is giving us a remainder that is minus 25. That is how you determine a remainder if you are given a divisor and f at x, or an expression. We are still in remainder, but in this we are determining a remainder in terms of b now, using the remainder theorem still. So grade 12, you must have a divisor. There we have our divisor. So we are going to let this be equal to 0. So now we end up with the a, which is equal to b. So wherever we have an a, we are going to substitute that with b. Everywhere we have a, because everything must be in terms of b, grade 12. So where we have a, we are going to substitute with a b there. I am highlighting or putting brackets on all my a's. And then now let's take the expression now. It's a cubed minus 3a squared b plus a b squared plus 3a b minus b squared. All my a's, I am circling them so that I can substitute b there. So by so doing, substituting b, I will be looking at the remainder for that expression. So a is b cubed minus 3, a is b squared b plus a is b with a b squared plus 3a is b with a b again minus b squared. And then this gives us b cubed minus 3 b squared times b cubed plus b times b squared b cubed plus 3b times b, that is 3b squared minus a b squared. And then let's see grade 12. How far can we go with that one? We are checking the like terms now, the b cubed adding together and the b squared together there. So it's a b cubed minus 3b cubed, that will be minus 2b cubed plus b cubed minus 2 plus b, that is a minus b cubed. Okay, or you can start by adding the positive ones. They will give you 2b cubed minus 3b cubed, it will be minus b cubed. And then we deal with the squares now. 3b squared minus the b squared, that is a positive 2b squared. That means that is the remainder of this expression in terms of b, grade 12. Okay. And then activity 5 here, we are looking at g at x. If g at x is x cubed minus px plus 3 is divided by x minus 1, the remainder is 10. Remember, on the previous activities, we were determining the remainder. We were calculating the remainder. In this case, we need to determine the value of a variable that is added into your equation now, of which is the letter p there, using that remainder, because the remainder is now given to you. So we are taking the remainder theorem method application to solve these types of questions now. You still need the previous application, grade 12. Remember, lastly we said we have our divisor. We take the divisor, we let it equal to 0, so that we can get the value of x of which to substitute, right? So we are substituting x equal to 1, right? In the same g at x function, we are not changing any method, grade 12. There we have our g at x equal to x cubed minus px plus 3. Wherever we have an x, we are now going to substitute with the 1. So g at 1 is 1 cubed minus p into 1 plus 3. But now remember, this side is indicating, remember, do you still remember that? It's talking to the remainder. So now the minute you have substituted x value into a certain function, it will give us the remainder for that particular function. So this will be 1 cubed 1 minus p plus 3. We can't rely completely on a calculator because there's a letter that is an unknown there. It's not the same as the previous question. So what is the remainder? Remainder is equal to 10 there. So on the side of the remainder, we'll substitute our remainder 10. And then we have 1 plus 3, of which is 4 minus p. And then I'm taking p to the left to be positive p. And then 10 to the right, it will be 4 minus 10. Therefore, p is equal to 4 minus 10, which is minus 6. Remember, we are determining the value of p. That means p is equal to minus 6. If now you want to write down the actual equation of g at x, it will be g at x equal to x cubed minus, from the formula p is coming with minus 6. We are substituting into that formula grade 12, and then that will be plus 3. So we end up with x cubed, that is, there's an x there, plus 6x plus 3. That is the actual g at x function there. Okay. And the mark allocation will be 1 for substituting the value of x, 1 for the remainder, and the third one will be for the correct value of p there. Okay, grade 12, may you please look at this one and check, can you do it on your own? I am giving you 3 minutes to look into this problem and be able to answer. The polynomial is 2x squared minus ax minus 2bx plus 5, and then it's divided by 2x plus 1, and the remainder is b. Now you are solving for a. Your 3 minutes starts now. Okay, grade 12, let's see how far did it go. Remember to send our clarity seeking question to our WhatsApp number 079-454-9535. Repeat 079-454-9532. Okay, let's see now. We are given this expression here, which is divided by 2x plus 1. So we have our divisor 2x plus 1. We let it equal to 0. And then you have 2x. We transpose 1 to the right hand side, becomes minus 1. You divide by 2 both sides. Therefore, x will be minus a half. So we will be substituting x equal to minus a half into our expression. So our expression is 2x squared minus 8x minus 2bx plus 5. And then where we have an x, we are going to substitute that with a minus half. And then by so doing, we will be determining the remainder of this expression. So it's 2 into minus half squared minus a into minus half minus 2b into minus half plus 5. And then now the remainder is given to us as being equals to b. We are going to substitute the remainder with b there. So in this side we are having 2 into minus half squared is 1 over 4. And then minus a times half is plus half a. And then minus b times minus half is plus half of 2 is 1 grade 12, therefore it will be positive b there plus b plus 5. Continue, and then 2 goes once there and then twice there, so we are left with half here. Can even use your calculator to testify that. That is half a. Remember you have a b for remainder there, plus b plus 5. And then when you take this b to this side, it will be b minus b, which is a 0, equals to, on the right hand side we have half a, and then 5 plus a half, it will be 11 over 2. Please always add with your calculator grade 12 and verify the answers are correct. 5 and a half is 11 over 2. And then now we are transposing 11 over 2 to this side. It will be negative 11 over 2 equals to a half a. Then we divide both sides by half. The half will cancel half, therefore you are left with a, of which is what grade 12? It will be minus 11 over 2 multiply by 2 over 1. That means 2 will cancel a 2 there, and then we are left with only minus 11 as our value of a there. I hope we are still together on that one, grade 12. All right, to the next problem now. Let's look at the mark allocation. It will be 1 for substitution, 1 for simplification there, and then lastly for getting the value of a being a minus 11. Okay, and then we move on to activity number 7. We are still having f at x. We are still on remainder theorem. F at x is equal to x cubed minus 3x squared plus 2px plus q. In this case we are having 2 letters now, which is p and q there. Okay, our f at x function is equal to x cubed minus 3x squared plus 2px plus q. And then we are given f at 1 equal to 7. What does this mean, grade 12? It means when you substitute your x with 1, you get a remainder, that is 7. When you substitute your x with 0, you get a remainder, that is minus 1. So this is the remainder there. This is the remainder for the first condition. Now let's start with the first one. We are substituting f our x with 1, and then wherever we are having an x, we are going to put a 1. That will be 1 cubed minus 3 into 1 squared plus 2p into 1 plus q. Remember, this side is representing our remainder. Then 1 cubed is 1. 1 squared is 1 times minus 3 is minus 3. 1 times 2p, that is 2p plus q. And then what is the remainder? 7 is the remainder there. 1 minus 3 is minus 2. And then we have a 2p plus q here. Because we have two unknowns, we will be solving simultaneous equations. Remember, in any condition where you are having two unknowns, you need two equations to solve them simultaneously. So now we are going to let q be the subject of the formula here. We transpose minus 2 to join 7 there. That will be 7 plus 2, which is 9. And then 2p positive to that side, it will be minus 2p. So that is our first equation there. Now to have the second equation, we are now going to substitute the x with 0. We are looking at f at 0. Where we have an x now, we substitute a 0 cubed minus 3 into 0 squared plus 2p into 0 plus q. And then now the remainder for this condition is minus 1 if we are substituting a 0. 0 cubed will be 0. Minus 3, 0 squared, it will be 0. 2p times 0, it will be 0. So we are left with only q this side. And what is the remainder? Remainder is minus 1. Therefore, q is equals to a negative 1. Now to get the value of p, we are going to substitute this q into this equation here. So that will be 9 minus 2p. We are bringing in q equal to minus 1 for q there. And then we have minus 2p equal to, transpose 9 to the right hand side. Minus 1 minus 9 is minus 10. Negative 10, divide both sides by negative 2. Therefore, p will be equals to negative 2 into negative 10 goes 5 times. Therefore, p will be equals to 5. And then now grade 12, if maybe an examiner asks you to write this f at x now with real values, that will be f at x. Remember, initially we were given x cubed minus 3x squared plus 2px plus q. Since we now know the values of p and q, we can now bring in those values. That is x cubed minus 3x squared plus 2p. p is 5. It will be 5 times 2 there. That will be 10x. And then q is minus 1. That means that is the correct cubic equation of that function. Okay. Moving on. We are still on f at x with the same expression that we have identified on our previous question, that this f at x, after calculating the value of p and q, it will be x cubed minus 3x squared plus 10x minus 1. Now, the next question says, hence calculate the remainder if this expression now is divided by 3x minus 2. So this is a new divisor here. So we are going to take that same method. We let it equal to 0. And then now 3x will be equals to what, grade 12? Equals to 2, because we are transposing this to the right. And then we divide both sides by 3. And then x will be equal to 2 over 3. That means wherever we have an x in our f at x, we are going to substitute that with a 2 over 3 to calculate the remainder. For all the x's will be substituted by 2 over 3. We are busy substituting now. X 2 over 3 cubed minus 3x 2 over 3 squared plus 10 into 2 over 3 minus 1. Remember that calculator is having fractions, is having exponents. There's no need of partial calculation, grade 12. You put everything into your calculator straight to the answer of 125 over the 27. I hope you are together. Therefore, this will give us the remainder of 125 over 27. You can leave it as that fraction or you can take it to decimal. It's up to you, grade 12. So the mark allocation is for correct substitution of x and for correct remainder. Okay, and then now we are still on remainder theorem, grade 12. Show that x minus 2 is a factor. We want to relate now a remainder and a factor. Do you still remember what is a factor, grade 12? When we talk a factor, let's for an example, let's say we are looking at factors of 4. Factors of 4 are 1, 2, and 4 itself. Okay, what does it mean to be a factor? It means now if you take this value here and divide with any value into that bracket, it must give you a 0. If it gives you a certain number, that means that is not a factor. It belongs to remainder theorem because it will be giving you a remainder. But the minute it gives you a 0, that means that is a factor. For an example now, 4 over 1. 1 into 4, 4 times. There is no remainder. Remainder is 0 there. And then now, same, if we take the second factor, 4 divided by 2. 2 into 4 is 2 times. Do we have a remainder? No. Remainder is 0 there. And then now 4 divided by 4 is equals to 1. Do we have a remainder? Remainder is 0. That is why they are saying these numbers are the factors of 4, because they give you remainder 0. So any number that you take and divide a factor into, the minute it gives you a remainder of 0, you must know that that divisor is a factor of that dividend. Okay, now we are having a factor, we have a divisor here, we are not sure whether it's a factor. We have a divisor x minus 2, and then we have an expression there. So now we are going to take this expression and substitute this x minus 2 and check whether are we going to get a 0. If we can get a 0, that means it is a factor. If we get a number, therefore it is not a factor. So now let's take our divisor x minus 2, let it equal to 0, then x will be equal to 2. Then in our expression, we will be substituting x with a 2 there. So wherever we have an x, we are going to put a 2. That will be 2 cubed minus 12 into 2 plus 16. And then now you can put this into your calculator, grade 12. It will give you definitely a 0 there. Therefore, if it gives you a 0, x minus 2. Remember we substituted s plus 2, but it comes from minus 2. If we take it back here, it will be minus 2. So x minus 2 is a factor of that expression. Remember they said show that it's a factor. Yes, indeed it is, because it is giving us the remainder of 0 there. Okay, then 1 mark will be for substitution, 1 mark for getting a 0 there. Okay, then we can even give a mark for conclusion, because in this case you were asked to show that that is a factor. And then use a factor theorem again to show that x plus k is a factor now. X plus k is a factor. Show that it is a factor of this f at x function. It will only be a factor, grade 12, if it gives you the 0 as the remainder. Remember? Okay, now let's check now. Same method. We are taking x plus k. We equalize that to 0. So we will be substituting x, k to that side will be minus k. So wherever we have an x, we are going to substitute a minus k. So this is f at minus k into 6 minus k cubed plus 7k into minus k. This is squared. We are here now, minus k squared the x is k minus k, and then minus 2k cubed. I hope we have substituted all the x. Grade 12. Can you see that? Remember I said the tip is that you can put brackets on that so that you can see exactly where to substitute, okay, to avoid confusion. The minute you have substituted, this is now a remainder, okay, and then negative k cubed will be minus k cubed. And negative k cubed times 6 is minus 6k cubed. Negative k squared is positive k squared. Positive k squared times 7k is 7k cubed. And negative k times a negative will be a positive. How many? K squared times k cubed. And then this one remains 2k cubed there. And then now let's check. They are all k cubed. That means you are going to add everything, grade 12s. So that is a minus 6k cubed plus 7. That is a positive k cubed. Positive k cubed plus positive k cubed plus 2k cubed. And then 2k cubed minus k cubed, that is a 0. Okay, or you can say 7 plus 1 is 8. Minus 6 minus 2 is also minus 8. So minus 8 plus 8, it will give you a 0. So the remainder is 0 here. Therefore, if that is the case, what can you conclude? X plus k is a factor of that f at x function given to you. Can you see why? Because it is giving us remainder 0. Therefore, it's 1 for substitution, and then 1 for simplifying to 0 there, and then now for concluding that x plus k is a factor. All right, grade 12. And then now the next activity, if x minus 1 and x plus 2 are factors now, we are given 2 factors of that cubic function. And then of the factors of f at x is equal to x cubed minus 2x squared minus mx plus n. Determine the value of m and n. You remember we did this problem previously that if we have 2 unknowns, that means we need to apply simultaneous equation. 2 unknowns, simultaneous. And we know that in order to do simultaneous, you need 2 equations. Then let's see now, how are we going to derive these 2 equations that you will be solving simultaneously? So now we are given the first factor there and the second factor there. So the first one will be x minus 1 equal to a 0. And then now if we take minus 1 to this side, it will be positive 1. So we will be substituting x equal to 1 for the first condition. And then second condition, we take x plus 2, we let it equal to 0, and then in this case we'll be substituting x with the minus 2 to get the second equation. Then we will be solving these 2 equations simultaneously because it is indicated that they are factors. Remember, the minute they are factors, that means the remainder is what, grade 12? 0. So that means in this case, now we can say f at 1, the remainder is 0. And then with f at minus 2, the remainder is what? 0. Right, and then we move on to our f at x function. F at x equal to x cubed minus 2x squared minus mx plus n. For x, we are substituting, first one, we are substituting a 1. So is f at 1 equals to 1 cubed minus 2 into 1 minus m. This is squared, grade 12. Do not forget that square. And then m into 1 plus n. And then what is the remainder? Remainder is 0. Where does the 0 come from? Because it is given that this is the factor. So if it's the factor, the remainder is 0. We have proven that on the previous question. So now this will be 1 cubed is 1. 1 squared is 1 times minus 2. It will be minus 2. Minus m times 1 minus m. And then we have a plus n there. Okay. Equals to 0. 1 minus 2 minus 1 minus m plus n. And then we make n subject of the formula. We take minus 1 minus m to the left. It will be positive 1 plus m. So that is our first equation there. And then now to create the second one, because we are solving simultaneously, we are going to consider the second condition where x is equal to minus 2 now. This will be minus 2 cubed minus 2 squared minus m minus 2 plus n. And then now the remainder is 0 again for this condition. Minus 2 cubed is minus 8. Negative 8, grade 12. Negative 2 squared is a positive 4. Positive 4 times negative 2, negative 8. Negative m times negative 2, positive 2m plus n. But remember, n is given as 1 plus m there. Okay, so now we are going to say 0, minus 8 minus 8, minus 16, and then plus 2m. What is n now? N is 1 plus m from the previous equation 1. So can you see now we end up with only one unknown? We are now automatically solving for these two equations simultaneously. That will be 0 equals to minus 16 plus 1 minus 15 equal to 2m plus m. That is not equal to greater, that is plus, 3m. And then now from here we transpose minus 15 to the left hand side. It will be positive 15 equal to, this side we are left with 3m. Then we divide both sides by 3. And then m will be equal to what? 5. We now have the value of m. We are solving for m and n. And then to solve n, we can take that equation 1 which says that 1 plus m is equal to n. Then we substitute an m with a 5 because we have the value there. That will be 1 plus 5 equals to n. Therefore, n is 6. Then you have the value of m and the value of n. So remember, you can write the correct now f at x function for this. It will be f at x equal to x cubed minus 2x squared. And then remember the m, we have just calculated that m is 5. It will be minus 5x, and the value of n is 6, therefore plus 6 there. That is the real f at x function for us. Mark allocation, substitution there. Okay, the second one for deriving that formula. The third one for substituting a minus 2 equal to 0. And then the fourth mark will be for simplify expression before you substitute m at that level. That is the fourth one, it's 1 there. The second mark here. The third mark for substitution. The fourth mark for simplifying. And the sixth mark for bringing in, the fifth mark for bringing in the m. 1 plus m substitution. We are now at mark number 5, number 6, number 7. So this is a simultaneous equation of 7 marks, grade 12. So it's a lot of marks. Please practice this type of questions and familiarize yourself with that type. Okay, we have done all the above activities, grade 12, because this is taking us to the factorization of a cubic function. Cubic function is a third degree, x to the power 3. So that is a third degree polynomial. Remember, on the previous grades, we were solving for x on a linear graph, solve for x on a parabola or a quadratic function. Now we are looking at x to the power 3. a third degree polynomial, of which is ax cubed plus bx squared plus cx plus d. And then now let's see now how do you factorize this. Factorize the cubic function. In this case, we are given f at x is equal to x cubed minus 6x squared minus 6x. This one is a little bit easier, grade 12. Why? Because we are having a common x throughout your f at x. There's an x there, there's an x, there's an x. So now you can just factorize this by taking x common, and then on x cubed you'll be left with x squared minus 6x for the second one minus 16 on the third one. And then now we can now factorize this trinomial. We are looking for factors of 16. When you subtract them, they give you a minus 6, which are 8 and 2. 8 times 2 is 16, right? To get a negative 6, 8 must be negative and x be positive. So these are the factors of f at x. We are just factorizing, not yet solving for x, because the question says factorize. Then we will stop there. So first mark will be that one, and then the second mark will be for the factors of the trinomial. So factorizing this will worth how much, grade 12? That is a 3 marks. And then now let's move on to the next question. And then we are factorizing again the cubic function now, which is 3x cubed minus 7. Look at this one, we don't have x there, so there's no way you can take out a common fact. To be common, it must appear in all your terms. In this case, it only appears on the first two. You cannot say you are taking out your common fact. You cannot, grade 12. So for such cases, other schools are using synthetic division, others they are using long division, but I'm going to use the short method of factorizing a cube. Follow me on this one. That is the easiest method ever. Okay, now you start by checking. Remember, it's a cubic, it must have exponent 3, 2, 1, and then without an x. Okay, so now we check. We have 3, we have 2. Can you see exponent 1 is missing? So we are going to add that as this will be the same as 3x squared minus 7x squared plus 0x, because it's not part of that. We have just added a 0 there. So now that is the first thing you do. Whether you do synthetic, you do long division, this is the method you follow. You start by writing this third degree polynomial with all its exponents there. And then now let's start solving the problem. Remember, in order to find factors, do you still remember you must have at least one factor to be able to substitute to get other factors. So in this case now, we are going to check which value can we substitute into this to get the first factor. So grade 12, you'll be substituting 1 and test until you get the one that is giving you 0. You substitute 1 minus 1, 2 minus 2, 3 minus 3, and so on until you get the answer that is giving you a 0. And then if you test that for me, you can see that if you substitute a 1, this will give you a 0. Okay, so if we look at f at 1, wherever we have x, we now substitute a 1. That will be 3 into 1 cubed minus 7 into 1 squared plus a 4. So if we substitute that, this will give you a 0. So if it gives you a 0, what does it mean? It means x, not plus 1. You have substituted plus 1, but remember, if you have substituted plus 1, you take this back, it will be x minus 1. Okay? We are reversing that, what we've been doing previously then. So x minus 1 is a factor. Happy now? At least we have one factor there. So f at x, of which we are factorizing, is 3x cubed minus 7 x squared plus 4. And then now we have the first factor, which is x minus 1. We need to find the trinomial factor for this. Right, how do you do that? The method that you are going to use, great job. This is the method. You take the first term, 3x cubed there. You divide it by the first term of your first factor there. And then this will give us what? 3x squared. Then it will be your first term in the trinomial bracket. Okay? And then now we come to the last term. We start by first, by, and the last. Here it will be bx. We leave it like that. And then now the last term is 4. We divide it by minus 1 from the first factor there. And then this is giving us minus 4. Then minus 4 will be the last factor for that bracket. You can even test x times 3x squared is 3x cubed. Minus 1 times minus 4, it will be positive 4. We are left with only the value of b. All we need is the value of b there. And then to find b, remember you have x minus 1 there. And then in this bracket we have 3x squared. I just want to write this neatly so without any additions on it. And then the next method that you'll be doing now, you'll be multiplying minus 1 times 3x squared. Only those two, okay? Then it will give you minus 3x squared. And then you multiply x with the next one here. It will be bx squared. Do not multiply into this term, great job. Only the first two, right? And then now the values that you have then, that is minus is bx squared minus 3x squared. This will be equalized to the x squared in your equation. Because we are talking to x squared here, it will be equal to minus 7x squared. Can you see that? And then that is bx squared equal to minus 7x squared minus 3. It will be positive. Negative 4x squared. Because minus 3 to the side will be plus 3. So minus 7 plus 3 is minus 4x squared. So now can you see the value of b is how much? It's minus 4. So all we need is that value of b to bring it to this expression here. So we'll be having x minus 1, and then our trinomial factor will be 3x squared minus 4x. Do not take that x squared great terms. We are using this one for x minus 4. And then that is the trinomial factor for that expression. And then we have x minus 1. So we need 2 brackets of this. Remember, grade 12, you are more than welcome to check your factors using your quadratic formula if you are not comfortable with factorizing using a short method. But the first factor here, obviously, even if you use a quadratic formula, it will be 3x multiplied by x. And then factors of 4 will be 2 and 2 here. And then we need minus 4. This will be negative. That one will be a positive. So these are the factors of f at x, grade 12. This topic is very important, grade 12. You need to master this because this will be taking you to the solving or the sketching of a cubic function moving forward. Okay, right. And then let's move on to the next question. Our next question is factorize the cubic function f at x is equal to minus x cubed plus 8. I want you to try this one, grade 12. Use any method that you are comfortable with. It can be synthetic division, it can be a long division, or the short method that I've just indicated to you now. Please find the factors for this one.
Believe in yourself. Believe a little more in yourself, because to those that believe, nothing is impossible. You have done this before. You have passed your tests before. You have went into a higher grade before. It is possible because you have done it before. Do not doubt yourself. Keep believing in yourself. Keep pushing, because this can be done and you can be great. The road to success is to commit to yourself. In order for you to become who you want to become as a student, you need to commit to reading your books, to studying, to bettering yourself. I know it's not going to be easy. Actually, no one said it's going to be easy. But if you put in the work, the results will show in your life. Tap into your power. Sometimes you will feel like putting away your books, and not reading as much as you're supposed to be. But I want you to commit, because through commitment, there is infinite power. You have been given power to decide whether you want good results in your life, in your schoolwork, or you want bad results. As Tony Robbins said, it is in the moment of your decision that your destiny is shaped. And your destiny is shaped right now with the decisions that you are currently making in your schoolwork. So decide whether you want to be an A student and start working on it, because there is power inside of you. The infinite power is inside of you, and the time you decide to tap in that power, you will become who you want to become in your schoolwork.
3, 2, 1, your life.
Do you know that you are different? Do you know that your fingerprint is different? It's different from your peers, from the people that you are studying with. So do not compare yourself with your peers. Do not compare your results with what they're getting, because you are different. You have your own talents and skills, and also you have your own gifts. Embrace what you can do. Always put in the work to make sure that your results become better than what they were yesterday. But do not compare yourself, because when you compare yourself, you do not know what another person has, and they do not have what you have. So believe in yourself. You are different, and keep on putting the work.
Okay, grade 12. This is how far you can go with this question. As you can see that the factors of this f at x are those that we have just calculated there. Okay, moving on now. This one, they say factorize the cubic function f at x is equal to minus x cubed plus 8. And then there are cases, if you look at this, this is your factorization of the sum or difference of two cubes. Do you still remember that from grade 10, where we are having two cubes? So now, why are we applying that here? Is because now, look at this grade 12. If I am saying f at x, I'm taking out a negative there, I will be left with x cubed minus 8. Can you see that these are difference of two cubes? Difference means subtraction, right? The answer that you get when you subtract of two cubes, because this is a cube, x to the power 3. Remember, this 8 is also 2 to the power 3. Okay, it is a cube, grade 12. And then now, do you still remember factorizing a cube from your grade 10? You say cube root of x cubed is x, and then the minus in between. The cube root of 2 cubed is 2. And then now to create the next bracket is x times x, which is x squared. If your middle sign is negative, it will be positive this side. And then middle term is x times 2, which is 2x. And then the last term you square the minus 2 will be positive 4 there. So those are the factors for this trinomial. This is special because it is applying your difference of two cubes from your grade 10 knowledge thing. That is the pre-knowledge that you are taking to grade 12 now. And then now activity 14, you factorize a cubic function again. I am still going to do that short method, grade 12, with you for the second time, so that now you can familiarize yourself with that or be comfortable with the method. And then now we are factorizing the same f at x function And then if we take negative out here, it will be minus x cubed minus 6x squared plus 9x minus 4. And then now you need to test the factor, grade 12. One factor that will work for this one, substitute 1, minus 1 on the original, it's fine. Even here it will work for you. But use the original one always to avoid, because sometimes you might do mistakes here, they will affect your answer. Substitute 1, minus 1, 2, minus 2 until you get the correct one. So for this case now, if I substitute a 1, you can test with me. Minus and then 1 cubed plus 6 for x, 1 squared minus 9 for x, 1, and then plus 4. You just put everything into your calculator, grade 12, and check. It must give you a 0. Remember, this will be minus 1, this will be plus 6, this will be minus 9, this will be plus 4. Can you see 6 plus 4 is 10? Minus 9 minus 1 is minus 10. Therefore, this is giving us a 0. If that is the case, therefore, x minus 1 is a factor. Remember, when you substituted positive, this one will be minus, right? Is a factor. At least we have one factor now. X minus 1. And then you do still remember the method. We take x cubed divided by x, that is x squared. And then middle term bx, we'll be looking at that. And then minus 4 divided by minus 1, it's a positive 4. And then now we are having minus x squared plus bx squared equals to the x squared in the formula, which is 6x squared, okay? No, we are not using that one because we took it here where we have taken a negative. We take it from here, minus 6x squared. And then this is giving us bx squared is equals to minus 6x squared plus x squared, of which bx squared is equal to minus 5x squared. We don't need the x squared, you only need the value of b, which is minus 5. Take it to your trinomial, we have negative from here, x minus 1 into x squared minus 5x for b plus 4, close bracket. Now we are going to factorize that trinomial. We have a negative brought down, x minus 1 bringing down, and then now 2 bracket for factorization of this trinomial. It will be x into x, factors of 4. When you add, you get a 5. That will be 4 times 1. To get a negative 5, they must both be negative, so that it can be minus 4 minus 1, of which is minus 5. So we are just factorizing grade 12. Therefore, these are the factors for that particular polynomial. Right, and then we are still on third degree factorization, grade 12. I want you to try this one in 3 minutes time, doing it on your own. You are welcome to use any method. You can use your synthetic division, you can use a long division, or you can use the short method that I've just explained to you. And then remember to send your alternative solution to our WhatsApp number 079-454-9535. I'm repeating 079-454-9535. Please share those alternative solutions on that particular group, or your clarity seeking question to that particular number. Your 3 minutes grade 12 starts now. Okay, grade 12s. Let's see how far did it go with this one. I just hope that you got your full marks on this one, all right? Right. And then remember, the method is firstly you start by checking the correct factor, substituting 1 minus 1, 2 minus 2, and so forth. So which one is working, grade 12? It's either you substitute a 2 or a minus 2, or you substitute a 4. Those will work for you, right? And then let's say now you manage to choose a 2. This will be f at 2, and then you have 2 cubed minus 4, and then a 2 squared minus 4 and a 2, and then plus 16. And then now if you put this into your calculator, it will give you a 0. It is ensuring that x what? Minus 2. If you substitute plus, it will be minus. Is a factor of this function. So happy now we have the first vector. F at x will be equal to our first vector. Oh, let's write the formula, bring it nearer. Minus 4x squared minus 4x plus 16. And then the first vector will be x minus 2. In this case, we don't have any negative to take out there. So now it will be x minus 2. We want to find the trinomial factor. It's x cubed divided by x squared plus bx. This will always remain bx that we'll be looking into. 16 divided by minus 2, that is minus 8. And then now minus 2x squared plus bx squared is equal to the x squared on the f at x, which is minus 4x squared. And then now bx squared is equal to minus 4x squared. We are transposing minus 2 to this side. It will be plus 2x squared. Bx squared equal to minus 4 plus 2, that is minus 2x squared. We don't need the x squared, we only need the value of b, which is b equal to minus 2. Back to our vectors, x minus 2 into x squared minus 2 for b, 2x minus 8. And then happy grade 12s, we now have our trinomial factor. It's x minus 2, then this will give us 2 brackets. X squared is xx, factors of 8. When you subtract, they give you a minus 2. It will be 4 and 2. And then the 4 will be negative and the 2 positive. Therefore, these are the correct factors for this f at x function. Okay, I hope you managed to get that. And the first mark will be for the first correct factor, for showing us this is a factor there by proving it is equal to 0. And then secondly, it will be a trinomial factor despite the method, any method that we have used. And then the last one will be for the last 2 factors for that trinomial. So for finding these factors, grade 12, we will be giving you 4 marks for that. And then now the next activity, show that x minus 3 is a factor now. You need to show us that x minus 3 is indeed the factor of this f at x. And then the f at x is x cubed minus 4x squared minus 3x plus 18. And factorize the expression completely. After proving it's a factor, factorize completely, right? Let's start by showing that it is a factor. So we are going to take x minus 3 equate to 0. Therefore, we are substituting x with a 3 there. If it can give us the remainder 0, therefore it is a factor. So it's f at 3. We are taking this into the f at x function. That means it is 3 cubed substitution minus 4 into 3 squared minus 3 into 3 plus n 18. And then grade 12, if you put everything into your calculator, you will get that 0. And then therefore x minus 3 now is a factor. At least up to this stage we have the first factor for that. Okay, now to find other factors, because you need to factorize this expression completely, we are going to take our f at x function, which is x cubed minus 4x squared minus 3x plus 18. Happy, we have the first factor x minus 3, of which will assist us to get the trinomial factor. It's x cubed divided by x, that is x squared, middle term bx, and then 18 divided by minus 3, that is minus what? Grade 12 minus 6. Okay, and then now we need to find the value of b, that is minus 3x squared plus bx squared equals to the x squared on your f at x, that is minus 4x squared. And then this will give us bx squared equals to the minus 4x squared. We are transposing minus 3 to this side. It is becoming positive 3x squared. So bx squared equal to minus 4x squared plus 3x squared is a negative x squared. We don't need an x squared, we need a b. Remember, there's a 1 there, coefficient of that x squared. Therefore, b is equals to a negative 1. So we bring b in here, that is x minus 3. And then the factors, okay, let's start first by writing b. X squared minus x minus 6. That is the trinomial factor. And then we have x minus 3, and then this trinomial will give us two factors again, that is xx. So we are looking for factors of 6. When you subtract them, they will give you a minus 1. Therefore, we are taking what? 3 and 1. You can't take 6 and 1, because when you subtract 6 minus 1, you get a 5. Or you can use your quadratic formula, grade 12, and check the correct factors. So middle term is negative, take the sign of the bigger number, this one will be a positive. As you can see, we have 2 brackets of x minus 3 here, so it will be x minus 3 squared and the bracket of x plus 1. Therefore, this graph will be turning at one of the x-intercept, that is why we are having only 2. You look at that when we are doing our cubic function sketching. That is the next topic, okay? Right, and then let's continue now. We have our factors here, happy. And then activity 17, show that x squared plus x minus 2 is a factor of f at x equals to x cubed plus 4x squared plus x minus 6, and calculate the other factor. You show this is a factor, and then after showing, you calculate the other factor. Right. If you look at this factor that is given to us, it's a trinomial factor. So we need to find factors of this, because already we are having 2 factors in there. So grade 12, now we will be taking this x squared plus x minus 2 equating to 0, and then we factorize this to get the 2 factors. So it's factors of 2, when you subtract you get a 1. That means we are taking factor 2 times 1. The middle term is positive, we need a plus 1, therefore 2 will be positive, and then the other term here will be negative. So we are basically having x plus 2 and the x minus 1 as being the correct factors for this trinomial. So now it means for this f at x, we already have 2 factors. That is why the question says find the other factor, because it's x to the power 3, you must have 3 factors. Okay, happy? We can take one of the 2, it's up to you, grade 12. If you want to use x plus 2, you can, or if you want to use x minus 1, you can also do so. If you decide to use x plus 2, you will substitute your x with minus 2, or if you use x minus 1, you substitute your x with the 1 there. So let's say this particular learner decided to use minus 2. That will be f at x equal to x Oh, let's start by taking the trinomial x cubed plus 4x squared plus x minus 6. And then this learner took x plus 2 as the first factor there, and then try to find the trinomial now factor of this cubic. Okay, so it will be x cubed divided by x, that is x squared, plus bx minus 6 divided by 2, that is a negative 3. And then this is giving us, okay, let's test the b value, is 2x squared plus bx squared equal to the x squared in your function, which is 4x squared. Then bx squared will be equal to 4x squared minus 2x squared, which is 2x squared. Therefore, the value of b will be equal to 2. Okay, so now that is x plus 2 into x squared plus 2x minus 3. So we factorize the trinomial bracket now. It will give us 2 brackets here, x, and then factors of 3, when you subtract together 2, it will be 3 times 1. And then the middle term goes with the bigger number plus, and then this one will be negative. So these are the factors, grade 12. As you can see, it is also giving us the other factor that we have just indicated. There's an x minus 1 factor. There you have the x minus 1 and the x plus 2. Therefore, the other factor is x plus 3. And then let's say now the other learner decided to use factor x minus 1. Let's see. X cubed plus 4x squared plus x minus 6. And then now this one decided to use factor x minus 1 to find the trinomial. This will be x cubed divided by x, that is x squared, middle bx, and then minus 6 divided by minus 1, that is a positive 6. And then now let's find the b value for this one. It will be minus x squared plus bx squared equal to the x squared in your formula, that is 4x squared. And then now the bx squared is equal to 4x squared. This minus x squared, when it comes to this side, it will be positive. Then it's 4x squared plus x squared, which is 5x squared. Then b is equals to 5. So we bring b to our factorization, or the trinomial factor. That will be x squared plus 5x plus 6. So we are looking for factors of the trinomial. It will be factors of 6. When you add them, they must give you a 5. When you add them, you can't take 6 and 1. Yes, they are factors of 6. 6 times 1. But when you add them, they will give you a 7. So you must choose wisely, grade 12. Listen to your trinomial. It is saying factors of 6. When you add them, they must give you plus 5. That means you must go for 3 and 2. Okay, you can't just write any factor there. You must test whether are they correct. And then this is the f at x factors for this particular function. And then now we come to the last part on our polynomials, where you are really solving now for x. And then this is taking us to the x-intercept of a cubic function, where we will be solving for x using the method that we have learned today. We did everything today to take us to the x-intercept of a cubic function, grade 12. This is very important that you ensure you understand this lesson, because you can't sketch a correct cubic function if you can't calculate the correct x-intercept of that particular function. Right, now we are solving for x if we are given x cubed equal to 6x squared. This is an equation now. As you can see, we are working with the original cubic equal to 0. So to solve all your equations, ensure that you have a 0 on the right hand side before you can attempt any solution on your left hand side. So if you look at this, we are challenged because our right hand side is 6x squared, so we need to get rid of that 6x squared by removing it to the left hand side. So let's do so. We will be having x cubed minus 6x squared. Then this will be equal to a 0. And then after doing so, grade 12, we've seen that on this problem we have xx. That means there is a common factor because it is appearing on both terms. Okay, and then now the common factor is of x to the power 2. You take the smallest exponent, of which is x to the power 2, and then x cubed divided by x squared. Here you are left with x minus the 6x squared divided by x squared. You'll only be left with a 6, that is equal to 0. So therefore the x squared is equal to 0, or x minus 6 is equal to a 0. So this is giving us x equal to 0, or the x equal to positive 6. Then that is the x, those are the x values for this equation. So that means if you sketch this graph, you'll be having your x-intercept. These are the x-intercept of this equation. All right. Continue. The next activity. Solve for x if one of the roots of this. Remember, when you talk roots, you are talking the x values. Okay? One of the roots, the x-intercept of this function is equal to 1. So now if they say x is equal to 1, if you take this 1 to this side, you'll be having x minus 1 equal to 0. That means this x minus 1 is a factor because they were managed to get the x-intercept using that factor here. So grade 12, basically this is another way of giving you one of the factors. Okay, there's no need for you to substitute 1, 2, minus 1, minus 2 until you get a factor. In this case it is given to us, so we will take our expression x cubed minus 5x squared plus 7x minus 3, and this is an equation. We let it equal to 0. And then now we are already having the first factor here is x minus 1. If it is positive, you'll take it back as being negative. Remember that. And then now let's apply our method of factorization. It's x cubed divided by x, that is x squared. We leave bx. Minus 3 divided by minus 1 is a positive 3. Then we have minus x squared plus bx squared equal to the x squared in your expression minus 5x squared, or in your equation, and then this is bx squared equal to minus 5 minus 1 to this side will be plus 1x squared. So minus 5 plus 1 is minus 4x squared. So therefore b is equal to minus 4. We just consider the value of b there. Back to our factors, x minus 1, and then our trinomial is x squared minus 4x plus 3 equal to 0. And then now we continue solving because we are solving for x. We are no more factorizing only grade 12. We are now solving for x. We need values of x now. So that will be x minus 1. We start by factorizing first to get those values. So this trinomial says to us, I'm looking for factors of 3. When you add them, you get a 4. That means it's 3 times 1. Okay, so that will be xx. And then they are both negative because we need a minus 4. Okay, so now the first bracket, as you can see, is the same as this one. So they will both give us the same value of x, which is 1. There's no need to repeat and write x equal to 1 and x equal to 1. No, it's the same value. X equals to 1 for both, or x will be equal to 3 for the second bracket. And then let's look at the mark allocation grade 12. It will be for the factors, correct factors with the trinomial. the second factorization, and the final solution now. At this level, we are expecting you to be masters of this now, because you've been doing this for a very long time now. And then activity 19, we are given that g at x is equal to minus x cubed plus 5x squared plus 8x minus 12. Show that x plus 2 is a factor, and hence solve for g at x equal to 0. So now remember, when you show it's a factor, what you do, you substitute this as a minus 2. It is x plus 2 equal to 0, and then transpose that, it will be a minus 2. So we are substituting an x with minus 2. Minus into minus 2. Plus 5 into minus 2. Plus 8 into minus 2. Minus 12. And then now into your calculator, it must give you a remainder of 0, grade 12, because x plus 2 is a factor. If it doesn't, that means it is not a factor of that. So now we are taking our g at x function minus x cubed plus 5x squared plus 8x minus 12. We equate it to 0 because they said it is equal to 0 there. And then take out the negative. We have x cubed minus 5x squared minus 8x plus 12 equal to 0. We already have the first factor, that is x plus 2. So we need a trinomial factor with our nice, good, short method. And then that will be x cubed divided by x, that is x squared, plus bx. 12 divided by 2, that is positive 6. And then 2x squared, we are looking for the value of b now. X times bx plus bx squared. The bx squared, now we are taking it from here, the x squared on the expression, because we have now taken a negative out to get this factor, right? It will be minus 5x squared. Be careful, grade 12, not to take from there. Your answers will be wrong, because at this age we have already dealt with taking out a negative from that expression. Hence we are now at the level where we are using this minus 5x squared. So now bx squared is equal to 2 into that side. It will be negative 2. Negative 2 minus 5 is minus 7x squared. Therefore b will be equal to minus 7. Take b to your equation now. That will be x squared minus 7x plus 6 equal to 0. Factorize a trinomial. We are looking for factors of 6. When you add them, they give you 7. That is 6 and 1. And then x to be minus 7, they must both be negative. So grade 12, this negative we can multiply by negative throughout or divide by that negative throughout to get rid of the negative. So we will be left with only with our bracket. So the first x will be x equal to minus 2, or second x equal to positive 6, or the third x, which is x equals to 1. So cubic function, because it's x to the power 3, that is why it is giving us 3 solutions. So we will be having 3 points of intercept for that particular function. All right, and then now with the next activity here, we are given h at x is ax cubed plus bx squared plus x minus 1. As you look at this grade 12, there are new unknowns now here, a and b. Remember, we are used to x and y, but we had now brought an a and b in this one. Let's see now. They say if x plus 1 and x minus 1 are the factors, they are telling us that they are factors. That means the remainder is 0 for both, because they are factors. Okay. So we will be substituting for the x plus 1 equal to 0, we substitute x minus 1. And then for the second one, x minus 1 equal to 0, we substitute our x with the 1. But for both conditions, the remainder is 0. So determine the values of A and B. That means now you are solving simultaneous equations because you have two unknowns. Let's do so now. H at x, we are starting with x minus 1. It will be A into minus 1 cubed plus B into minus 1 squared plus minus 1 minus 1. And then what is the remainder now? Remember this side is for the remainder of which is 0. Minus 1 cubed is a negative 1. So negative 1 times A is negative A. Negative 1 squared is positive 1. Positive 1 times B, positive B. Positive times negative, negative 1 minus 1 there. And then now the remainder is 0. That is minus A plus B minus 2. Therefore A, if you take minus A to the side, becomes positive A. Right hand side, we are left with B minus 2. That will be our first equation. And then now for the next equation, we substitute x with a 1. Then it's h at 1, a into 1 cubed plus b into 1 squared plus 1 minus 1. Remainder 0. 1 to the power 3 times a, 1 squared, 1 times b, 1 minus 1 is a 0. And then for a, we are now going to substitute b minus 2. For a, substitute b minus 2 plus b, 2 to this side positive, b plus b, 2b. Therefore, the value of b is equals to 1. Okay, and then to find the value of a, we are substituting this b in the equation 1. So a is equal to 1 for b, and then minus 2. That will be a is equal to minus 1. So that is the values, those are the values for a and b in your expression there, or in your equation. That means the real equation now for our f at x, or the h at x, sorry, it will be ax cubed. A is minus 1, then it will be minus x cubed. Plus bx squared, b is 1, that means it will be plus 1x squared. Remember that is there is a 1 coefficient of which we don't normally write, plus x minus 1. So that is your h at x function. Okay, with those factors that we have already 2 factors for that. And then now, hence you solve for x for that one. That will be the last activity. So if we solve for x greater, remember we already have 2 factors for that. So we needed that factor. We did an activity like that when we were factorizing. So we are taking our f at x now with the correct values of a and b. So our f at x from the previous activity, we have just calculated that the value of a is minus 1. Then it will be minus x cubed plus b is positive 1, that will be x squared plus x minus 1. Now we have the first vector, or take out a negative because we have a negative there. It's x cubed minus x squared minus x plus 1. Take out, okay. One factor, you either decide to use that. We have tested this, it works very well with both, right? Let's say this learner decided to use x plus 1 equal to 0. Then the learner will be substituting x with the negative 1 if there's a need for substitution. But our factor is x plus 1. So we have first factor x plus 1. And then now we need a trinomial factor. It will be x cubed divided by x, that is x squared, and the 1 divided by 1, that is plus 1. And then we need a bx. I hope now grade 12 you are now mastering this method. It's a 1x x squared, and then x by b by plus bx squared equal to the x squared in your equation where you have taken out a negative minus x squared. So bx squared will be minus x squared minus x squared, which is minus 2x squared. Therefore, the value of b is what? It's a negative 2. Back to your factors, you have x plus 1, and then x squared minus 2bx, minus 2x plus 1. That is the factor for that. Let me rewrite this. It's minus x plus 1 into x squared minus 2x plus 1. But now, because we are solving for x, we must let this equal to 0, because these are the factors for this. Remember, if these are factors, the remainder is 0. So now we will be having minus x plus 1, and then the trinomial factor will be xx, and then 1. Factors of 1, when you add, you get a 2, it's 1 and 1. And then they must both be negatives. Can you see this 2 is giving us the same bracket? Therefore, it will give us x equal to 1. Or the first bracket will give us x equal to negative 1. Remember, this negative will be multiplying throughout by a negative in order to get rid of that, or divide by a negative. So grade 12, this brings us to the end of today's lesson. And this lesson was brought to you by the Gauteng Department of Education in collaboration with Saibono Discovery Center. So see you next time, grade 12. Thank you.